In this video, we'll use the idea of percent comparisons to explore the idea of percent change. So suppose x increases from an initial value of 5 to a final value of 9. What can we say about how x changed? So I have a couple segments representing these values. So I have a segment representing the initial value of x sub I, which has a value of 5. And then I have another segment up here that represents the final value of x, and that has a value of 9. So from an initial value of x to the final value of x changed by some amount. And we represent that change with delta x. And we know that this change in x can be represented as 9 minus 5, which equals 4. So if x increases from 5 to 9, x changed by 4. This change in x, delta x, is 4/5 times as large, so times as large as the initial value of x. So delta x is 4, x changed by 4. The initial value of x was 5, and so the change in x is 4 divided by 5 times as large as the initial value of x. And 4 divided by 5 has a value of 0.8. So we say that that change in x is 0.8 times as large as the initial value of x. Since the change in x is 0.8 times as large as the initial value of x, we say that delta x is 80% of the initial value of x. So based on the idea of percent comparison, since delta x is 0.8 times as large as the initial value of x, delta x is 80% of the initial value of x. Since x changed by 4, and 4 is 80% of the initial value of x, we say that x changed by 80%. So we can describe this change in x as just a change of 4, or we could say that x changed by 80%. So in general, when we consider percent changes, we're measuring the change in the value of a quantity using 1% of the initial value of that quantity. So in this case, we measured the change in x using 1% of this initial value of x.